You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 3rd, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Works and Safety. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety to order. This third day of April 2023, President or Mayor Dwayne Perry, Mr. Michael Vincent, myself, Virginia Keating, we have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular hybrid Zoom meeting of March 20th, 2023. Are there any corrections?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Now call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a request to dispose of city property. Sean Smith, Street Department Director, is requesting to dispose of the inventory of equipment and other items that have reached their end of service. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. Sean Smith, Michigan City Street Director, 1801 Kentucky Street. I'm here today to get approval from the Board of Work to dispose of small miscellaneous items, rakes, shovels. We also have old saws that reached their end of service. I attached our annual inventory disposal list. These will be 37 items that we will look to dispose of. This all happened over the course of 2 to 3 years. So we basically salvaged everything we could salvage off of them. There's nothing else we could do to keep them in service.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? Is there any board comment?
Just a question, Madam Chair. Is some of this electric tools?
Small power tools, old chainsaws. We have a couple old leaf blowers. We have one generator that's inoperable. They're basically trash items currently right now.
Okay, in this day and age of liability, I'm kind of paranoid about that. Can we cut the cords on these so nobody could take it, plug it in, get shocked or hurt themselves, and then we have a lawsuit?
Yes, that's
inoperable by cutting the cord.
Yes, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support?
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a memorandum of understanding. The Indiana Department of Transportation and the town of Beverly Shores are requesting approval of a memorandum of understanding between the city of Michigan City, the town of Beverly Shores, Indiana, and INDOT regarding the transfer of Beverly Drive in LaPorte County. Who's going to speak to this? Anybody here that can address this? Brad, can you address this? Not sure that this is your area, but.
Madam Chair, Brad can't, I can. So wait.
Good morning, Board. Brad Minnick, Premier Engineers. I had reviewed the application, and my understanding of it is just part of the process for the upcoming project on US 12. They want to square up the intersection and make it safer. Currently, it's in a Y type configuration, and they just want to bring it in at 90 degrees and make that curve a safer approach for both traffic on US 12 and coming off the local road as well. So that's the extent of my knowledge of that.
Thank you for that explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any public comment? Mayor, do you want to address this as well?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I had a meeting late last week with Mr. Tim Warner, who is an NDOT engineer, and Tim explained to me that all this is their investigation leading up to this project revealed that there is a small straightaway that runs north and south that they determined is Michigan City's property. It's our jurisdiction. So there's no financial obligation here. All they're asking is for our permission to go ahead with that, for us to turn that over to them so that they can remove it. There's
Thank
no
you.
financial obligation to the city.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilman, are you there to give a comment? Okay.
No, that satisfies me at this time up. How much of an area are we talking about? Is that, is there any paving involved with that? Or are they gonna take care of it when they,
All costs of the project are going to be borne by NDOT. We have no cost whatsoever.
and how much area did they determine is ours?
Without a sketch, it's without looking at the sketch, it's just a short, straight run of pavement that would blend into the Highway 12 section that runs north and south. If you're going west on Highway 12 and you start to go through that curve in the road, it's at the end of the curve. What before that would go straight. This portion right here.
Okay, I was just wondering if it was 10 feet or 50 feet, because, you know, if that's what's going on, we're gonna be responsible for that. So,
No, we are not responsible for any of it. It looks like it's over 100 feet. Without scaling it, it looks like it's between 100 and 200 feet, just a guesstimate. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Thank you for your concern.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a street closure. Brad Minnick, Premier Engineering, updating the street closure list received from Nicky and approved in 2018 for the 2023 double track project construction.
Good morning again. Just an update on the various street closures in Michigan City as the contractor moves through the double track project. Part of the application reads the description of closure of 11th Street from Chicago to Michigan Boulevard. The intersections of Wabash, Franklin, Washington Street will only be closed one at a time. Both intersections of Kentucky and Tennessee Street will remain open when Ohio Street is closed, and Lafayette and Oak will not be closed at the same time. And the projected time frame, while they didn't give durations for each of the various intersections, the requested closure was for 4 months. So they are targeting midsummer to be complete with that work in Michigan City.
Thank you. Corporal, did you want to say anything? Okay, all right. I have a question. Okay. Is there going to be notice in the newspaper and on the radio of each individual closing? Do you know? Because otherwise people just are traveling down the road and all of a sudden they find out that the road has been closed and the time consuming to move over to the areas that are open. They need to know.
Right. Okay. So I'll pass that concern on to both Nick D and the contractor to give more advance notice for closures.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any public comment? Is there any board comments?
In addition, Madam Chair, in addition to what Mr. Minnick said, I will go ahead and issue a press release from the mayor's office, and I will make sure it's broadcast on both the radio stations and in the newspaper
Thank you.
at least a week before.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Then do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is the Jake Break restricted signage request. Vice President Vincent is requesting a Jake Break restricted. I gotta say that again. Jake Break restricted sign be placed at US 35 between Warnke Road and US 20 interchange on both sides of the highway. Why don't you go ahead?
I've heard several comments and I've heard it myself with the relocation of the shingle factory or the warehouse out in the industrial park, and then hopefully some expansion at the industrial park. Trucks like to use their Jake brake because it's a lot easier on their equipment than their regular wheel brakes. However, if anybody's ever heard it, it makes a tremendous noise. And in that area, there's some residents that are concerned with this noise, not to mention the Silver Birch complex that's right there. And that's almost, if you drive by, it's almost like an echo chamber. So when the Jake brakes are applied, especially in front of that, it's quite a rumbling inside the building. So just didn't know if we were considering that or if it's ever been on the docket before.
Thank you. Corporal Wright, did you want to address this issue? Okay, come on. I can't see that far. I don't know who I'm talking to. Yeah, it's all I saw.
Dave Cooney, Chief of Services with the Michigan City Police Department. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
It's this Jake brake. Well, I have a question. Okay. I want to know if there's any ordinance prohibiting the Jake brake or if there's any ordinance permitting restrictions on it. That's what I need to know. Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure. I would have to look into it and I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. And you would do that for us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Is there any public comment? Any board comment?
Madam Chair, I thought I knew a lot, but I don't know what a Jake brake is. Michael, is that the same as an air brake?
No, if you're by a truck, it's the loud rumbling. You can hear it. There it is. Tommy knows.
Yeah.
Okay,
You can hear it from a mile away.
okay. Thank you.
I think it's
Thanks
a good
for the sound
idea.
effects,
but-
Tommy.
I think it's a good idea, but I think we might want to investigate restrictions and things like that. So do I have a motion?
Motion to table for one meeting.
Second.
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a special purchase. Marty Corley, Michigan City Police Department is requesting approval for a special purchase for 84 Panasonic Tough Book FZ5560 Havis vehicle docking station, 60 Lind vehicle power supplies, and 1 Microsoft volume license agreement, with the total being $291,312.
Hello, Dave Cooney again, Chief of Services with the Michigan City Police Department, 1201 East Michigan. Chief Corley was unavailable today. The purchase of the Panasonic Tough Books, similar to the QPA, would be the National Purchasing Agreement with the Government Services Administration and Omnia Purchasing, which gives us about a 28% discount to purchase these Tough Books and the equipment that we need. That's what we're requesting.
Thank you. For the record, I want to say that there's appropriation in place from the Michigan City Police Department, for the Michigan City Police Department, from the Lit Public Service Account 2023-1479 in the sum of $300,000. So that being said, is there any public comment? Is there any board comment?
We talked to you after the meeting. Thank you.
Anything? Go ahead, Paul.
Councilman Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. At our last council meeting, I interpreted comments by Chief Walker that he was not at this time worried about this purchase, that he would want to see his people get pay increases so more people would come here. I'd have to look back at the meetings, but I thought that's what he said at the end of the meeting during public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, apparently that's changed, has it not?
Chief's comments were regarding the movement of vehicle purchases from Riverboat funds to lit money. That was separate issue from these Tough Books.
Thank you. Any board comments?
None here, Madam Chair.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a request to award bids. Brad Minnick, Premier Engineering, is requesting approval from the Board of Works for him to be able to award the Franklin Street conversion project bids that will be received and opened by the Redevelopment Commission on April 4th, 2023, to be able to move forward on this project.
Okay, thank you. Again, we're back discussing the Franklin Street conversion. Bids are due tomorrow at noon. So I would ask the board to approve award of the bids pending redevelopment commission board approval, which would be Monday, the 10th at the regular scheduled meeting. So rather than come back again to the Board of Works in 2 weeks, I would ask if the redevelopment commission approves that the board also approves the Franklin Street award so we can move forward in the interest of time and get the project completed prior to Memorial Day.
So this is to expedite the matter.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Is there any public comment?
Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street, member of the City Council. I have a question to clarify how this is going to be paid for. Is that what Mr. Minnick is asking for on a delay on approving the contract until it goes to the redevelopment commission to get additional money from the redevelopment commission so the sidewalk fund is not robbed? As we discussed prior at the last meeting about on the invoice, it had the code and everything that was taking $100,000 out of the sidewalk fund. And I want to know to make sure that that money stays in that account to get sidewalk money this year for the residents of the city and the second ward.
Councilman, I'd just like to address that for an instant, okay? And I'm not an expert in the budget or anything like that. But my understanding is that this is a matter between the council and the controller's office. And the controller's office, I think at our last meeting, provided us proof of funding. Isn't that true? So, you know, this board has no jurisdiction over that matter. We don't get involved in how funds are allocated, and we discussed that last time. I just want to make that clear to you.
Madam Chair, I understand that. But the bid as it was placed out there was to use that sidewalk account money that was appropriated out of the budget. That's what I want clarified. That's all. It's simple. If you're going to go back to the redevelopment commission and get money from them, what's been discussed, because nobody's discussed it in front of the city council. Nobody's called me and told me what they're going to do. And I know nobody has called Councilman Don Przybylski about it because we're concerned about it. Because we're the ones that are pushing sidewalk repair in this community.
And I understand that, but let me interrupt you. Once again, we don't determine.
Well, can Brad answer that? Answer that, please.
Go ahead. Come on.
So some of the sidewalks aren't in the TIF. They're outside. They're on Elston, Manhattan, Buffalo, where we got to do some work out there. That's not in the TIF. That's in, I believe it's in Second Ward, if I'm not mistaken. Could be mistaken. Anyway, so when we get the bids in, I'm going to go back to the redevelopment commission, and anything downtown, I am going to ask for extra appropriated money. That. Yeah, and one more. And I did confirm that you can deobligate money. You asked me that question.
I know. My point is this, is we're talking about
the reconfiguration of Franklin Street. I don't know what Mr. York is talking about other streets in the second ward. But let me say this, is that what I do know, and I don't want to get in that discussion, but I think it needs to be clarified. Is the money going to be used out of that portion, or is it going to be used for neighborhood repair? Not reconstruction of any sidewalks on ongoing construction with the double track or with that reconstruction project, because if I'm correct, and what I know is that the redevelopment commission can use their money for projects outside that district to prove that it's economical, viable, and, promotes economic development, reaching outside of the TIF district. All I'm asking is the board to get clarification on keeping that money on what it should be used for, because I got 2 calls this week about sidewalk repair work. Thank you.
Anything else?
Hi. Good morning, board members. City Councilman Don Prisbalinski, 215 Gardena Street. And I'm also here to talk about the sidewalk money and what Councilman Paul Prisbalinski said. And let me just go back a couple of years in talking about sidewalks. So we were assigned to go out into our areas and see what sidewalks needed to be repaired. I did that. Councilman Paul Prisbalinski did it, and Councilwoman Tracy Tillman did it in the 5th Ward. We submitted our sidewalks to get repaired. That was 2 years ago. No sidewalk work was done at all last year in Michigan City, and I don't know what's going to be done this summer in Michigan City. But the point is we need the sidewalks repaired in the neighborhoods. By me going door to door here during this campaign season, people are asking me, when are we going to get our sidewalks repaired? I've said I've submitted my list. I'm waiting for the administration to start, letting this stuff out for bid. But going back to the downtown area and whatever Skylar's talking about with the double track work on Elston, Manhattan, what have you, is that money shouldn't be coming out of the sidewalk fund. Now, I don't know if the board, just like you said, Mrs. Keating, the board has jurisdiction on where this money comes from.
Yeah.
The whole point of the matter is that $100,000 should be left alone. It should be left for the neighborhoods to get their sidewalks fixed on Gardena Street so people can take their children and get down to the park instead of worrying about tripping on things. People with walkers, people in wheelchairs. We all know the scenario. That's where that money should stay. That's what it was allocated for. Not for construction work in the downtown. Now all of a sudden we're switching the traffic pattern. But I know that the bubble pads are also included in that, and I appreciate that. But that money should come out of the TIF area. That's what that money, that's tax money that's in that area to be used for improvements. And that's my point, and that's where I'd like to see that money come from, and leave the $100,000 alone for sidewalk repairs. Even $100,000 is a drop in the bucket for the amount of sidewalks and that need to be repaired in Michigan City. Thank you.
Okay, a question. Have you talked to the controller about this?
No, I haven't talked to the controller's office because everything here, I came to the last Board of Works meeting and we were discussing the subject. So I thought perhaps the Board of Works was going to, talk to the redevelopment commission, talk to Skylar, see what he had to say about it. No, I didn't talk to the controller's office to where the money's coming from to do this project.
I suggest
Yeah.
maybe the council might want to discuss this with the controller's office.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought, possibly the administration would reach out to the controller and say, can we switch this money around? Can this money out of the TIF district be used for the sidewalks, and if so, then use it. I don't know what the big hangup is in using this money out of the TIF district and leave the 100,000 alone and take the 300,000 or whatever you need from the TIF and be done with it. That's what it was. That's what it's there for. Thank you.
I just want to make a quick comment, Madam Chair. I understand your position on allocation of monies. I do. My position is this, is in good faith, we approved that budget. They have that sidewalk work done in the neighborhoods. And Councilman Don Prespolinski is correct. There's a lot of terrible sidewalks out there. We need probably, seriously, we could spend $500,000 on sidewalks. It's despicable what's going on in the neighborhoods. That's why we are passionate about keeping this money. And I will tell you this, that I know that we've been advocating for sidewalk money during our whole career. When I was first on the city council, the sidewalks were despicable in the community. I mean, downright despicable. And that we created a program back in the 90s under the Beeler administration.
Certainly. I
That was a
understand
50-50 match. Then we proceeded on from that. Then the city took it over. But what happened is why they eliminated the program is that none of the local contractors wanted to bid on it because they had to carry that $1 million amount of insurance on their sidewalk program replacement. And that's one thing that needs to be addressed. But Madam Chair, I think that this should have been taken care of before you even got to vote on this, and that there should be an understanding that the redevelopment commission is going to pay for it. And I also will tell you this, that through these shenanigans with the way that they want to shift around money, that I have written and authored legislation to the city council specifically about sidewalk repair. And there will be no more shenanigans, hopefully, after the city council passes it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to do, well, two things I'd like to say. One is that the city controller for the past week has been in the hospital seriously ill. So that's why there's been no communication there. And the second thing is motion to approve.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a street closure request. Thomas Johnson, J&B Excavating, is requesting a street closure at Fifth Street between Washington and Wabash Street for urgent sewer tap with the Michigan City Sanitary District on April 18, 2023, with a rain date of April 19, 2023, from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Good morning.
Good morning. Thomas Johnson with J&B Excavating, requesting to close Fifth Street between Wabash and Washington for approximately 12 hours for sewer tap. For the Michigan City Sanitary District.
Did you want to say anything? Steve? They do have insurance. Insurance, their insurance is.
Good morning, Steve Stanford, Sanitary District Operations Manager, 1100 East 8th Street. I just would like to reiterate Mr. Johnson's request. This work's being done on our behalf.
All right, thank you. Any comments from the public? Any board comments?
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a street closure request. Alan Shepperson Jr., commander of the American Legion Post 37, is requesting to have their annual Memorial Day Parade on May 29th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., closing Patinia Parkway to Franklin Street down to Decatur Street to Greenwood Cemetery entrance. And this is an annual event. Did you want to come up here, please? You. Yeah.
We are waiting on insurance.
They have insurance.
We need insurance.
I thought I saw it there, but okay.
Not on that.
It's there. We have an insurance scale. We have the
We have
insurance
insurance, but it hasn't been approved.
by,
Charlie.
okay, all right. Please, would you address the issue? Is there any problem?
This is a yearly event. There are no issues with closing the streets requested.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Public comment? Is there any board comment?
I'll make a motion to approve pending the approval of insurance.
Support.
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a street sign request. Paul Prespolinski, Second Ward Councilman, is requesting the placement of a stop sign at the corner of Barker Avenue and Ohio Street. Councilman? You got a long way to travel there.
I don't have a problem with traveling. I can still get around pretty good. I've been doing that in the neighborhoods pretty good, you know, looking at all the crummy sidewalks and all the other conditions in this community and the no paving in this community, all right? Seriously,
Election year.
and a lot of complaints.
Hey,
But-
we all agree that sidewalks are important. All of us.
Our concerns
Yeah.
in the second ward, which I also agree with there's a petition out there and I was hoping to have it this morning with signatures from people in that corridor.
Hey, are we gonna address the stop sign issue?
Yes, is that and myself as a representative are asking for a stop sign to be placed there. And I know the thing that we gotta look at the accidents and the traffic control and all that. My particular issue is when I take that route coming home from work. I go past the prison and I jog over and come up Barker Ave. And I gotta tell you is that if you're trying to come across on either direction, you're not gonna get through there. And I believe it's extremely dangerous coming around heading southbound from 11th Street around that curve. Because by the time you see a car, I don't even know how many seconds you have to react, either go or stop. It's really a hazardous condition. And I think, you know, we can do, I know the process that you have to go through, but I think that when the residents brought this up to my concern, I start traveling that route more. And it's a problem unless you're coming home at 5:30 in the morning from like I do. But in the evening, I even had problems at 5:30 in the evening. But you go through there at basically any time. There's a lot of traffic now. And there's going to be this is one of the things. This is only the start of it, because I think that we're missing the boat by not retiming the stoplights on Franklin Street. I know that's another matter, but I'm going to bring that in front of you guys later this year. And I think this is just a combination of that being a bad curve and the increased traffic in that corridor, Madam Chair. And I would hope that the board takes it under consideration.
Are you here for public comment? Why don't you wait just a second, Tommy? Let me go through this.
Dave Cooney, Chief of Services, Michigan City Police. What I can do is have Corporal Wright look at that intersection unless he has already. I'm not aware. He could do a traffic study and see what's needed.
Okay, well, we need this sooner rather than later. So at the next meeting, we need to know what's going on there. Okay.
No problem.
I appreciate that. Tommy?
Oh, yeah, Tommy Club at 1316 Ohio Street. I could personally attest. So they come off that stop sign at 11th Street and they head southbound Ohio, and there's nothing that slows them down until they get to the light at Earl Road. It's like the old US 30 drag strip over in Cherville, Maryville area. My proposal would be only thing, I know might be pushing the envelope, but they need to put a roundabout in there. I said, I think to get on bus trip, we all need to go to our gold standard cities like Carmel, Fishers, Noblesville, Zionsville. Down in Carmel, the residents there have a very rich quality of life. They got a roundabout now in every block down there.
Easy.
And it's,
Chill out.
yeah, but I was just,
Thank you.
and
Gordon.
that's just my thought.
Sure.
St. Anthony Hospital isn't there anymore, so you don't have to worry about that traffic
Sure.
there. So I think there
Thank
ought to
you
be a
for-
roundabout there.
Thank you for your passion. I appreciate that. Any other comments? Any board comments?
Make a motion to table this till next meeting till we receive a traffic study and recommendation from traffic control.
Support.
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a restrictive covenant approval. The City of Michigan City, for the use and benefit of its Department of Parks and Recreation, as a condition of receiving a $250,000 grant from the U.S. Department of Interior and at the state level by the Division of Outdoor Recreation in the Indiana Department of Natural Resources for renovation to Water Tower Park, desires to record a restrictive covenant so that the Water Tower Park shall be retained and used for public outdoor recreation in perpetuity. Is there anyone here who wants to address this? I think it speaks for itself at any rate. Is there any public comment? Is there any board comment?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Support.
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a community crossing agreement request. An agreement between the Board of Public Works and Safety and Reith Riley Company Incorporated for the paving of the 2023 Community Crossing Grant Project. Jeff, you want to come up here? Jeff Wright? Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. Good morning, Board. Jeff Wright, Hassan Associates, 526 Franklin, Michigan City. I believe everything is in place. The notice of award has been delivered. The only thing remaining is to execute the contract. All of the streets have been read into the record. The contract needs to be delivered by the 6th of April.
Correct.
And so if you guys elect to execute the contract, we'll hand deliver it as we did the notice of award. So
Let me, for the record, explain that we have received the bonds and the insurance as required. And so basically we'll be approving the contract today and signing it. And I need your assurance that you will see that these documents are delivered immediately to NDOT.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Are there any public comments? Are there any board comments?
Motion to approve.
And second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a safety issue concern. Paul Prespolinski, Second Ward Councilman, double track placement of ADA corners on 10th Street and 11th Street, not in compliance. And this is informational purposes only, but do you want to make a request that this be accomplished?
Yes, I have, since it's an informational request at this time, that at some time that my concern is that as I'm looking at the construction going on where the existing sidewalks are placed, where the sidewalk is placed from the double track, it seems a great incline to make it to the corners, a huge incline.
And I don't know the parameters of the degree or the angle, but I believe that it's going to affect the second ward a lot. That I think that we need to make sure that this double track, whatever they're doing, that it's correct first time out. Just like where some of these, where they reconstructed the street and where they put their inlets, they didn't move the inlets. They just used what was there. And I think we're going to have problems. But the other thing is that the whole regards to the construction of the street and these streets in non-compliance with city ordinances. And I want to read an ordinance right now because my concern is not only the sidewalks, because I had another concern, I believe, that I didn't get on the agenda about preservation of brick streets. Ordinance titled.
Paul, before you do that, let's just dispose of this issue.
Well, I don't.
Then
I think they're all. I think they're all tied together.
Well, let's go ahead. Brad, let's talk about these ADA compliant corners first, and then we'll go back. Paul, stay there. Don't leave. Go ahead.
I had an opportunity to reach out to WSP that's doing the construction inspection for the Nikki project last week after Paul had contacted me about the ADA compliance, and I saw it was on the agenda for today. They've responded this morning and said the majority of the ramps are in ADA compliance. There are some areas that were poured by the contractor that will need to be remedied. That is to say, removed and replaced. So that was the update I received earlier this morning from the contractors, the inspection team, excuse me.
Okay, but that's not acceptable because Paul is asking about 10th Street and 11th Street being non-compliant. Can you be more specific? Have they looked at those in particular?
They were looking at the ADA ramps along the corridor in Michigan City for the Nicky double track project.
In general. Okay, we need them to address these two in specifically. Would you talk to them about that, please?
Yes, I'll get the list. They noted in the email that they couldn't, due to weather last week, perform a comprehensive review. So I'll keep pressing them for a list and have an update at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Paul, why don't you go ahead now, please? I'm sorry that I interrupted you. I just want to get this thing disposed of while it's in my
I don't think
short-term memory. Okay.
I don't think we're going to get it resolved that quickly. But what concerns me also is that they are in non-compliance with the city ordinance also, and I believe that. And I'm going to read this into the record for informational purposes, and I'm going to leave a copy so you can look at it. And I feel that a lot of things weren't looked at when this project was put in place. Ordinance number 3966, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2645, section 86-6 of the Michigan City Municipal Code, entitled Preservation of Brick Streets. Okay, I won't read through all the whereases. You guys can read it at your leisure. Definition: brick street, an existing city street that has a surface of paving bricks not covered by asphalt or concrete. The ordinance prohibits the resurfacing, that talks about resurfacing the streets in particular, and Washington, Charles, York Street, and that it also says any bricks temporarily removed for utility cuts or street repairs, whether performed by the city departments or private contractors, shall be placed in accordance with specifications on file at the office of the city engineer to ensure correct application and retain the historic value of the streets. that before any proposed construction on any portions of the designated brick streets will be permitted, there shall be a public hearing before the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Michigan City before any approval or disapproval of proposed construction. Bricks removed and not replaced during approved construction shall be returned to the City of Michigan City. All bricks removed from any other city streets that have been resurfaced by asphalt or concrete, whether removed by city departments or private contractors, shall be returned to the City of Michigan City. Similar bricks from city storage shall be used to replace any bricks damaged in the repair of brick streets. This ordinance shall be in full force effective by the Common Council of the City of Michigan City and approved by the mayor, introduced by Paul A. Przybylski and co-sponsored by Patricia Boyd. And this was approved on the 6th day of December, 2005. So by reading that, and that amended the Brick Street Ordinance 2645 that was on the
So 3 days.
it was in the code as of 1982. So what I'm getting at is this. They have removed bricks, and I don't know how many, from York Street. They have removed bricks from a paved street on Ohio Street, at least 100 feet on the west side, or probably the east and west side. But the whole thing is this. People know that we have I know that people know that we have a Brick Street ordinance. You can go out in the neighborhoods and these people know it. But my thing is that this whole project is outlandishly not respecting the City of Michigan City. And this, so I can, one more thing, this is what's supposed to happen. And it didn't happen. Now, where are those bricks? And I'll tell you, the median price for one of those bricks, and this was years ago, was $5 a brick. And I will tell you this, that I've talked to our planning department when I first got in office, asking them for the book that was in place, that was researched and put together by the city engineer at that time, brought up outfit in here from Iowa that specialized in Brick Street repair. So my whole thing is this. There are bricks. Where are they? Where are they? And they're in non-compliance as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you very much.
And I wish that the board, through Brad Minnick, would notify them and ask them where their bricks are and get an estimate how much they owe us. Or that I don't want to see them send us money. I want bricks back so they're in storage to do Brick Street repair, because there's a couple streets that need repair. Thank you.
Public comment. Is there any board comment?
Not here, Madam Chair.
Make a motion to leave on the pending items list for Brad to have a chance to verify that this project is going along as designed.
Brad, did you have anything you wanted to say before we vote?
I did have an update. I was in contact with the contractor the week before last. Yeah, actually, in the inspection team, again, WSP. The update I received from them regarding the brick pavers, specifically on York Street, was as follows. The new cul-de-sac on York Street north of 11th Street is scheduled to get brick pavers on the south side of 11th Street. The existing pavers are to remain, and a new asphalt approach from 11th Street to York Street is to be placed. And they offered to come to the Board of Works to discuss further if need be. So during the renovation of York Street. They removed the brick pavers and they're storing them off site. I do not know where. I haven't been able to find that out yet, but they're obligated to bring them back and replace them as construction continues for the project.
Thank
So,
you. Does-
and I had, well, I guess one other thing. So I had received the ordinance from Attorney LePage, and I had shared that with the inspection team as well. So they were aware of their obligation to the city of Michigan City.
Thank you. Does the board see value in having them come in and discuss this with us? If so, I'd entertain a motion.
My motion was in reference to the 10th Street and 11th Street crossing only.
Okay. Anything about this? Favors?
None here.
None here. Mr. Minnick said that he stated what the requirement is. That's acceptable to me.
Okay.
I will second member Vincent's motion.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote on the ADA corners of 10th and 11th Street. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a sewer paving citizens concern. Paul Prespolinski, Second Ward Councilman, concerns regarding Lincoln Avenue and Pearl Street sanitary sewer project and paving. I believe this is for informational purposes, and I'm not sure that this is even a board question. I think it would be the sanitary district's question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Paul Prespolinski, 1716 Washington Street. Councilman for the Second Ward that has multiple sewer issues. I attended the last sanitary board meeting, and through the whole meeting there was quite a few people there from Pearl Street that have had problems with collapsing sewers and things of that nature down Pearl Street. So they stated their concerns, and that was that, and there was no response from the board. And then later on in the meeting, they were talking about doing a project on Lincoln Ave to create a new, I guess, a sanitary line in there and taps for people. Lincoln Ave. But also in that, I looked and remembered the paving list, and Lincoln Ave is on that list. I don't know if it's 1,100 feet or 1,500 feet, but the city, as far as I look at it, they're doing a sewer project over there. They should be doing the paving also when they tear that street up. Not the city of Michigan City out of our MVH fund. That MVH fund could be used in some other area. That is the problem I have with that list that you guys approved today for paving. Some more shenanigans on the way they're using our money for to get work done in the wards. But what I want to say to the board, so you need to be on notice on this, is that Pearl Street was identified in 2 different studies on having sewer problems. There's like 16 people on that street that have sewer problems with collapsed sewers and easements for the last 16 years. In the latest study from 2017, when that administration was pushing for a stormwater use fee, they identified and they reconfigured and recalculated the whole project. That street was identified as the first street to be worked on. So I think that what's going on here is some more shenanigans. There's problems. There's problems in the Second Ward. So I am, as being the watchdog and advocate for the second ward and watching the monies. And people have their own agendas. I got one agenda to represent the people of the second ward, but also to vote on issues that come up before us. And I think this is a real shame, a real sham that's going on here. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was for informational purposes only. Basically, I just want to clarify for the public's edification that this board acts on requests. We don't initiate them. So basically, I'm going to ask if there's any other public comment. If not, any board comment.
I have a comment. Are we during board comment now, Matt?
Yes, yes.
Okay, my comment is simply this, in regards to the Lincoln Ave work, the sewer tie-in doesn't take up that much space. It's a small area of the street that is cut up. So to say that the paving should be done as part of the sewer tie-in rather than separately is a little bit absurd to me. But furthermore, all these accusations about shenanigans and wrongdoing need to stop. This is election year rhetoric, and it needs to stop. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other board comment?
Wasn't going to say anything, but I'll say it. I became a member of this board a little over a year ago, knowing nothing about how city works. And I was reaching out to several people, trying to feed off of their experience and their knowledge. No, I'm not going to say it. But anyway, I reached out to some people and they did not come back with email to me. When I saw them in person, I asked why they didn't reply. They told me they didn't have time. So they didn't have time then, but we have plenty of time now. And end of comment.
Okay, well, do I have a motion?
We don't need.
Yeah, do you want to do anything with this? You want to put it on or just informational purposes only? Is that what you wish to do?
It's an informational purpose item only. I see no action necessary.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the Park Department report, Park Department updates and details as to all upcoming community events per Board of Works Resolution 2836. Is there anybody here from the Park Department to address us today? We're going to need to send them a note telling them they need to come at our next meeting then, okay?
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I don't know what's going on there, but I will assure the board that what the situation is with the availability of Mr. Shin, but I will say he will be here at the next meeting to provide that report.
Appreciate that. The next item on the agenda is a special event report. Terry Greetham, Special Event Director, updates and details as to all events per Board of Works Resolution number 2836. Good morning.
Good morning, Terry Greetham, Michigan City Special Events. I'll try and make this as quick as possible, but we've got a lot of things going over the next few months. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome the newest member. Thanks to the mayor and the council for allowing us to expand on the special events department. The special events department has officially doubled. We have welcomed Eric Williams, who is our assistant event planner. Eric started on March 10th and immediately jumped right in and has been a huge help since day one. He has taken the lead on the Michigan City Easter egg hunt and will be taking the lead on the Kitty Parade, as well as working side by side with me on all the events that we have coming. So welcome to Eric, and really glad to have him as part of the team. Real quick recap of the St. Patrick's Day Parade that was held on March 11th. It was the first time in many, many years that the city of Michigan City actually put the parade on, and it was a huge success. We had 55 groups participate in the parade. They all had a great time. We had a great crowd along the streets. Fortunately, of that 7-day period, it was the one day where the weather was actually fairly nice, a little chilly, but dry. So we had a great event, really looking forward to continuing with that event and making it a little bit bigger and a little bit better each year. The next event on the schedule is this coming Saturday, April 8th. It's the Michigan City Annual Easter Egg Hunt. The gates to Fetters Alley will open at 11 o'clock, and the Easter egg hunt will take place at noon. If you want to see the eggs out in the grass, be there before noon, because by 12:05, the eggs will all be gone. This year, we've got some great partners. You know, this event originally was Michigan City Police Department's event. And last year, former Chief Campbell came to me and said, look, we want to get this going again after COVID, but with their staffing issues, it was really hard for them to do it themselves. So it became a group effort with Michigan City Special Events, the police department, fire department, park and recreations department, senior center, and many other individuals and groups that have joined in to help make this event happen. We want to thank our sponsors who have donated well over 10,000 pieces of candy and over 300 toys and gifts to be given out on Saturday. Captain Ed's, Albanese, American Licorice, Indiana State Prison, Williams Trucking, Servicescape Landscaping, and dozens of individuals from Michigan City who have just stopped by and dropped off bags of candy or gifts or baskets. The Washington Park Zoo dropped off some Easter egg baskets. So it's definitely it's such a good feeling to have the community come together like this for an event that's all about Michigan City and all about the youth of our city. So we're hoping to this coming Wednesday, we'll be stuffing anywhere from 15 to 20,000 plastic eggs. So if anybody would like to come out and join us, 10 o'clock at the Senior Center. We'll be stuffing eggs, and last year it took us about 2 hours. So we're really excited about that. Our farmers market will be opening up on Saturday, May 6th. It'll run 26 weeks through Saturday, October 28th. That is at the corner of 8th and Washington, and it runs from 8 a.m. to noon. We're very excited, thanks to the board who approved our new policies and procedures and the reduction on a lot of the restrictions that we have on the groups that participate. We think we're going to have quite a few more groups out there, and the market's going to continue to grow. And also, we're hoping that it creates a lot less headaches for the clerk's department. We're going to make it a lot easier on you guys. Next thing I want to talk about really quick, the Singing Sand Sculpting Festival will be coming on June 9th through 11th. Again, we moved that back a week this year. We are extremely excited to announce, with some of the news that we've had over the last couple of weeks. Christy Atkinson, who was our 3-time winner last year, she won the Masters Championship. She also won the People's Choice and the Sculptor's Choice, is returning this year to defend her crown. We are almost complete on our sculptor list. They're weeding through the last couple. We had a lot more sculptors apply than we can handle. So our semi-pro and our masters sculptors will be announced very soon. And I am excited to announce that in just 1 year, the Singing Sand Sculpting Festival has become an international festival. We'll have at least one international artist, possibly 2. So that is very exciting. We've secured 2 major sponsorships and 2 gold level sponsorships, totaling just over $30,000 for that event. We have multiple sponsors still on that we're still having discussions with. Excited about our amateur component of this, which is the community challenge. Our goal is to get 20 teams to participate in this. We've already got 5 verbal commitments, so we're 25% of the way there. Our target is to actually get to 30, but if I get to 20, I'll be very happy. And again, the idea of that event is to get more people participating in the event, but that will bring anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 back to local LaPorte County charities. So we're very excited about that. And then real quick, just a couple other items. Our patriotic parade, I may have already told the board this, but we had our first sign up a couple of months ago. And it was the Fergus Falls High School Marching Band from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. So our first group to sign up is actually going to be traveling hundreds and hundreds of miles. Every year they do a trip for a Patriotic Day parade. They selected Michigan City as their location. So we're very excited to welcome them. We've already had quite a few entries sign up. And then the last thing I'll talk about is Oktoberfest. We already have verbal commitments from over 20 bands for the event. The target is 40 bands, and at the rate we're going, we should have all of our bands selected and committed and confirmed by July 1st. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Promise it's going to be much easier on you guys.
Well, I think you've given us quite a lot to think about. I appreciate all of the work that you've done, and I know the rest of the board members do. The only thing I have to say is that if there's any candy left over.
Well, we actually have candy up in my office that probably isn't going to fit in the egg. So if you stop by after the meeting, we'll see if we can
Okay,
take care of it.
thank you very much for your
Thank you.
presentation. Next item on the agenda is the opening of bids. Christine Vanderborg, Code Enforcement Officer, is requesting the opening of demolition bids for the following properties: 614 Ridgeland Avenue, owner L. Delamar, L. Loomis and Solid Waste; 442 Hayes Avenue, owner Terrence Collins; and 816 West 7th Street, owner City of Michigan City. Gail, would you please open the bids?
Do you want to close the bids?
Oh, yeah, I may have a motion to close the bids, please.
Motion to close the bids.
Second.
The call for the vote, Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Okay. How many bids have been received, Gail?
On this one for Ridgeland, 614 Ridgeland Ave, we've only received one. And the total amount for this one is 820. No. This is my first time, so bear with me. We're missing Amber this morning.
You notice I delegated this to Gail.
You know me, I get nervous. Well, he had his assets on the stuff, but it's like, wow. There it is. We found it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The amount is $11,000 even, 11000.00.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to assign the, is this the only bid we have for that?
That's the only one we have for this one.
For that.
Oh, then we'll just go ahead.
Okay, the next one is 442 Hayes. Now we know what's at the back, right? We have one, and it's from Smith and Sons. I think.
Yeah.
And the amount on this one is $13,000, 13000.00.
Thank you.
And that is for Smith and Sons. And this is for Hayes, 442 Hayes.
$13,000. Okay.
Okay, the next one, we have one for, it's 816 West 7th Street. We have one bid. It's from, yes. It needs to be put back in the envelope. 816 West 7th Street.
614 Richland, that's the first one.
I'm doing better. $29,500, 29500.00.
And who is that?
And that's from Smith and Sons, and it's for 816 West 7th Street.
Thank you.
$9,500.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to assign these bids to the legal department and code enforcement?
So moved.
Support.
And they'll to be returning to us at the next meeting with a recommendation. I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you.
One more thing. Oh no, is this on? I don't think it's on the pending list. I don't think we put it on. 912 Martin Luther King. Where's Christine? We were going to bring it up to see if he finished it.
We can
He
wait.
was
for
supposed
this.
to empty the basement.
Let's wait for this until we get to, yeah, let's wait. till
But that's
the
on,
public hearing
okay,
portion.
sorry,
All right,
getting ahead of myself.
yeah, right. The next item on the agenda is a payroll docket for March 10th, 2023, city payroll of $701,035.93. Payroll docket for March 24th, 2023, city payroll of $664,992.85. Payroll docket for March 31st, 2023, city pension of $212,642.02. Claims docket for April 3rd, 2023, municipal claims, $2,691,727.67. Health and life insurance fund, $116,482.11. CDBG, Community Development Block Grant is $0. Workers' Comp Trust, $139,863.27 for total claims of $2,948,073.05. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve payroll dockets and claim dockets as read.
Support.
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Moving on then to unfinished business pending items list. The first item is the safety concern that Councilman Don Prespolinski had regarding poles that were leaning at Harrison and Buffalo Street. Mayor, I think you were going to look into this matter. Is that correct?
Well, my review was only on the poles that were east of Franklin Street. So I would have to ask the board to give me another period of time to review it.
Brad, you were also talking to NIPSCO.
Yes, NIPSCO at the last or prior to last meeting had confirmed those were AT&T poles.
Yes.
So I've reached out via email 3 times to AT&T with follow-up phone calls and have not heard back from them yet. So it's Matt Smith with AT&T, and I'll keep pressing him for an answer.
Okay, and is this delay going to cause any public safety concerns?
It appears to me that the wires between the 2 poles in question are leaning against the trees. So the trees are actually what are supporting the poles and wires. And that was a concern I expressed with AT&T. So the best I can do is call them daily until I get a response.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. Yep, go ahead. Here, certainly.
Thank you. Councilman Don Provolinski, 215 Gardena Street. I did take a ride past the area a couple days ago, and I see where there is spray paint on the blacktop from the east pole to the west pole, and there's numbers written on the blacktop. So I don't know who did that, or if it was AT&T that possibly came by there, but someone has been looking at it.
Sounds promising.
So what that means, I don't know.
Right.
But I did take the time and effort to go by there and take a look at it.
Thank you for doing that. This will remain on the pending items list. Next item on the agenda is Kevin McGuire, CFO, Michigan City Area Schools, was asking for the use of right-of-way. Before us today is an MOU between the City of Michigan City and the Michigan City Area Schools for the use of a public parking space in front of a Good News Vintage Store at 613 Franklin Street, Michigan City, Indiana. And Michigan City Area Schools will be responsible under this MOU for the installation, maintenance, and any subsequent removal, including any and all associated costs regarding the parking sensor and any and all financial and legal responsibilities for any damage or loss of the associated equipment. And this MOU MOU will terminate on September 30th, 2023. So in substance, that's what this MOU is about. Is there any question from the board? Any comment from the board?
None here, Madam Chair. Mr. McGuire is the Chief Financial Officer. It looks like the MOU is in order. I would make a motion that we accept.
I'll second.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Please remove. Yes. Next item is Brad Minnick, Premier Engineering, was requesting a fee proposal for Woodland Avenue. Brad?
Yes, this had been tabled since last fall. And Mayor and I talked about it after the first March meeting, I believe. So I'll have a revised proposal for you at the next meeting, if you could leave it on the pending items.
And we'll leave this on the pending items list. The next item on the agenda is orders to demolish that were published in the Herald Dispatch on March 9th, 2023. We held a public hearing on March 20th, 2023. We're here today to render our decisions on the following. I'll take each one individually. 912 Martin Luther King, the owner, Bonnie C. Bennett. Is there any board discussion?
We're waiting on updates. This is the one that the resident was taking care of.
Hi, Christine Vandenberg, Inspection Department. So I drove over to 912 Martin Luther King Drive. The structure, the basement section is completely gone. They did cap off the 2 sewer lines. He has not called for inspections yet. So I'll reach out to them today to get that taken care of with our department. All he's got to do is fill in, once he gets an inspection, fill in the rest of the yard and make it look nice and pretty, and it's pretty much done. So.
Okay, well, we still need to announce our decision regarding the hearing. So that being said, do I have a motion to affirm or deny?
Motion to affirm.
Support.
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. The next item is 207 Hendrick Street, owner Ahmed Realtor LLC. Is there any board discussion on this one? Then hearing none, do I have a motion as to a decision?
Make a motion to affirm.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. The next one is 425 Woodland Avenue, owner Consuelo Tolson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then do I have a motion to affirm or deny?
Make a motion to affirm.
Support.
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And the last one is the matter of 925 West 7th Street. The owner is the city of Michigan City. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then do I have a motion to affirm or deny?
Make a motion to affirm.
Support.
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Written orders will be issued. Next item on the agenda is public comment. As always, any matter requiring board action will not be discussed under the public comment section of the board meetings. And any items requiring board action must be placed on the agenda using the forms and procedure available at the clerk's office or online. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. All comments are to be addressed to the board president, not to individual board members. All comments must be germane to and within the mandate and authority of the board. And this is a lot to say.
Good morning again, Terry Griffin, Michigan City Special Events. I was trying to go so fast, I left a part of my report out. So I do want to announce that on March 18th, Michigan City Special Events participated as a partner with the Michigan City High School Athletic Department to provide halftime entertainment for the IHSAA semi-state games that were held at Michigan City High School. It was a huge success. The response from the IHSAA IHSAA, as well as the teams that participated and everybody who went to the event. Thought that the high school did a phenomenal job, and said that Michigan City has now set the standard for how these events should be run. So hats off to Craig Shaman and the athletic department and everybody who participated in the semi-state games.
Thanks. Any other public comments? Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I have a few concerns I want to address as a citizen. Social media, people are asking, are we allowed to have chickens in the city? Basically, no. You have to have the coop 200 feet from your neighbor, and they have to be on 3 plus acres of land. So basically, it's no. No chickens in the city. The other thing is tents. I know there's people coming to Michigan City and they think they can set up a tent and reside out of a tent. And they're setting up in places like Ruby Woods and the wooded area north of Walmart. You cannot erect a tent in the city unless on your own lot. It's just a no. I think if somebody comes and sets my trunk, that tent ought to end up going in a trash truck. The concern is the Pytania Playground, the Pytania Parkway, the property in front of Ames Field. People tend to believe that's a city park. That is not a city park. That is owned by the Michigan City area schools. They maintain it, they finance it, they fund it. It's theirs. Anything you got to take that up to the school board. That's that all went in back, I think, in 1995 at the time Elston and Rogers consolidated and Ames Field was constructed. We raised about $25,000 to restore the fountain and put all that in. It was all donations raised by the Save the Fountain Committee. So anybody thinks that's a city park, it's not. That's owned by the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy, for those public comments for informational purposes.
Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. Before you start clicking my time, I got to make a couple corrections, and I have a question for Christine. Tom, your comments about Ames Field, I wanted Amber to investigate if there was a reciprocating agreement with that property, because the city, which at that time I was on the committee about that, they called it the Ames Field Committee on when we were working with the school system on creating the structure down there. And I believe what we found out is that that particular property was titled to the city by Ames, the individual's name Ames. I believe he was a developer or a farmer, and it had to be kept in the city's name. It could not be deeded to someone else. And when Amber comes back, I'm going to ask her to research the database to see if there's a reciprocating agreement that we have with the school system on that, because we might have an issue on what you're talking about, Tom, about the park outside of the facility is actually supposed to be maintained by the city. But and no disrespect, but I think we need to check into it. Also, when Amber gets back, I'm going to ask her. I have a question with Fedder's Alley, that there was a sign on that facility that said Michigan City residents only. And I'm going to ask her to check the record on that, because I think that the taxpayers of Michigan City, and a lot of people know exactly what I'm talking about, that I think that they need a special place reserved since they're taxpayers. The question I have is, we have in front of you today 7 houses, I believe, that are in any sort of disarray. And there was a comment made, or a question asked at the forum the other night about housing in Michigan City. And I just want to know, like 925 West 7th Street, how do we get to the point, and how long has it sat in disarray that now the city of Michigan City is the owner of it. And my question is for Christine, how long did this procedure go on? In fact, you can answer that for me till it got where we're going to demolish it. Oh, Christine's not here.
No.
Skylar, do you have an answer for me? My point in being is that maybe we should step in and check state law if we can step in earlier to get these houses, stop what's going on, and actually work on putting our public safety people in these homes, in these neighborhoods. I remember several years ago, I watched a program that there were some communities doing that on saving these dilapidated houses and having there's public safety employees sign contracts for 5 years to live in them. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
But on the comment, now you can start my time, please. On my comments earlier about the shenanigans is that I don't apologize for saying that because that's what's going on. So I'll use the terminology by definition.
You said enough. I don't think I want to go down this road.
Maneuvering.
Well, I don't want to get involved in
Point of
this.
order, we're at 4 minutes, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. But the point in being is that we should be working together and not against each other. And that's what's going on. And that is the point with that money being maneuvered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Don Perbolinski, 215 Gardena Street. Just want to make a comment about the bricks over from York Street in that cul-de-sac. Because I saw that they were missing. I knew that there were bricks there. And I got a hold of Brad, and Brad's investigated it. And this company, whoever they are, that's managing the project on the double track, said that the contractor, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, the contractor has these bricks or they have them stored somewhere, and they're going to bring them back to Michigan City at what time? As they rebuild your. Okay. Well, what I would like to see, and if the board has any jurisdiction over this, that the contractor brings the bricks back now, puts them back into the storage area that the city has, so that these bricks don't get lost somewhere and forgot about, and this contractor winds up selling bricks to somebody else. Those bricks belong to us. They should have been palletized. They should have been put in storage right at the beginning, so we know exactly how many bricks we have. And I don't know how they took these bricks out with a backhoe or a payloader or what have you, but what condition are these bricks in now? And I know we don't know that, but I'm just saying, I don't want a bunch of busted bricks back. If these bricks have been destroyed, and maybe Brad should go take a ride and look at them, or somebody from the city, go take a look at them, then make the contractor give us $5 a brick for however many bricks are calculated in that area and be done with it. So I think we need more investigation into this besides just saying the contractor's got them somewhere down in Otis, Westville, what have you, and they're piled up and we'll maybe never see them again. I think we need to get our hands around them, get them back to the city, and I would maybe give them a time frame of possibly a month to get those bricks back. And maybe Brad can report back to the Board of Works if that falls under your jurisdiction. I mean, it is a street and it has been construction. So I don't know if that falls under the board's jurisdiction. But yeah, that's a comment. And I will bring that up at the council meeting tomorrow night also, so that we get that on the record. Another thing, and I'm not laying blame on, this is just a general comment and I'm sure we've all seen it as we travel the streets of Michigan City, are these old and I'm assuming they're telephone control boxes or wire boxes, or I don't know the exact terminology for them. Pardon?
Yeah, that really bad.
Yeah, well, anyway, you see them, especially in front of businesses. You don't see them in residential areas. You see them on main thoroughfares and in front of businesses, that a lot of these boxes are now rusted. They're knocked over. I don't even know if they're in use, but I think the city needs to investigate who owns these boxes. Tell AT&T, if they're not in use, we'd like to get them removed, because to me, they're just an eyesore. We talk about litter, we talk about trash. To me, these AT&T boxes, they're litter and they're trash. They need to be removed off our main streets in town to make Michigan City look better. I mean, just for an example, if you go to Jackson and Cool Spring Ave, right on the corner there, where Mr. Al Whitlow used to reside at, well, there used to be one of these boxes that sat there. Well, then the box got ran over. Now the box is gone, but all the wires that were inside this box, and I guess going down into the ground, wherever they went to, now they're just laying on the ground. And to me, they're just an eyesore. So if the Board of Works has anything to do with it, fine. If not.
Councilman, I'm going to interrupt you here, okay?
Sure.
Do you recall what I read earlier? I said that any matters requiring board action must be placed on the agenda. You're asking us to take some action here. You need to make that into a request.
Okay.
Then we'll take it up at our next meeting if you go down there and do that. We can't really deal with it unless we've got it before us in that manner. So
Okay, so for the next meeting, I fill out
yes, if you
the
would, please.
application and then come back and talk
Exactly,
about it.
exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Any board comments?
Say something else. I can talk to you if everybody else is done. I just want to reiterate what Councilman Prisbalinski said about those telephone control boxes. It's really bad in the county. Matter of fact, the late Jeff Santana, me and him were trying to work on that to get that. They're like almost impossible to have to deal with to get them done. The utility companies. So it's just, they're like, you drive through the county, it's like really bad. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Any board comments now?
No.
Then
Madam Chair, after 3.5 years of minimal cooperation between the administration and council, I don't have any comment. Thank you.
do I have
None it's going to have an impact.
a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
All for the vote, Mayor Perry. Aye. Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. We are in adjournment.